Bitch by Jason Bradford. Chapter 18. Broken, but not dead. The wreckage of the Titanic left the ocean littered with frozen corpses, and days of recovery had proven a brutal challenge, testing strength both mentally and physically. The sun had been bright and reflected off the surface of the ocean in a blinding dance of brilliance. Now that it dipped beneath the horizon, the twilight was setting upon them. The McKay Bennett, a cable-laying ship, was finally getting ready to head to Halifax after an exhausting week of searching and recovering. An officer was looking down at the bodies that crowded the deck. A few looked peaceful, and many looked mangled and nightmarish from their injuries that would leave them unidentifiable. Thick tarps covered the bulk of the bodies, pulled from the Atlantic. An officer named Jean-Louis, a man in his 40s with blonde hair who was built slightly stocky, continued to gaze at the carnage. A pang of guilt and sadness built within him, and he felt it change into nausea. He rushed to the railing, and vomit exploded from him. He looked out into the horizon where the sun kissed the ocean. How could something so ugly be behind him, and something so beautiful be just before him? He wondered. A sound came from the direction of the dead bodies laying side by side. Jean-Louis spun around and noticed a slight movement right away from beneath a heavy tarp that draped a dead body. He stared, unsure of what he'd just witnessed. It happened again. The movement beneath the tarp was slow, but more deliberate and refined. He pulled the tarp away from the dead body that it hid from his view, and an auburn-haired woman in an ivory-laced dress stared up at Jean-Louis. Victoria's icy lavender eyes chilled him. "Ma'am!" he gasped, unable to find further words as he leaned forward to reach her wrist. Jean-Louis made contact with her frail wrist and gripped it, and Victoria's hand gripped his in return, and she slowly sat up. Weak and fighting to stay alert, Victoria could feel the knot on her forehead and the disfigurement of her neck. She was aware that Jean-Louis, the man standing before her, noticed these things. She decided not to move, selling the illusion that she was broken, but not dead. Victoria whispered, "Boris." Jean-Louis leaned closer to hear better. "Ma'am?" "Where's Boris?" Victoria answered. "He was with me." "I'm sorry," he replied. "There are no survivors on the ship, ma'am." Victoria lay silent while she allowed herself to appear weak and defeated on the outside. She could feel her inner being heal and grow strong. She knew that within a very short time, her neck and forehead would be without telltale of any wound. "I'd be happy to wire ahead," Jean-Louis promised, "and see if they found your Boris, and to let them know that you are safe." Victoria smiled softly. "What should I tell them your name is?" he inquired.